Hey there, my name is Emmanuel Williams, and I'm here to briefly talk with you about how I knew Lenny. I knew Lenny as a fellow educator, as a brother and father figure, as a teammate in my business, and as a true friend. Because I've spent so much time around Lenny, I thought it was be only fair to talk about some of the things and to share some of the context from some of our interactions over the last 14 years. Over the years, I learned so much about and from Lenny. We met about 14 years ago at Berkmar High School while discussing our shared interests in mentoring students and the need to fill those gaps by starting a mentoring program over at Berkmar High School. Shortly after meeting Lenny, he started working with me in my business, and he was undoubtedly the best and most instrumental person to ever work with me in my business. We would sometimes work on projects for 10 and 12 hours a day during the summer and on the weekends. Um, and, I would just say that what he contributed to me, my life, my family's life, and also to my business was just instrumental. Um, After working with me for a few years as a co-worker at Berkmar and in my business, he moved over. He moved to Boston. I watched him go to Boston to pursue his master's degree, which was absolutely inspiring. After being there for a couple of years, he came back from Boston, got back into the school system, and he also started back working with me again, part time during the summers, sometimes in the evenings. Over the years, I've just watched how his passion for helping students have just led him to continue to pursue different levels in life. His passion for students also led him to come over to the Gibb Center East, which is Gwinnett County's intervention school, where we also work together along with our principal, Durant Williams, um, to help students with some of the greatest behavioral needs. It was absolutely great seeing how he pursued and achieved the goal of eventually becoming a social worker, and not only just a social worker, but our school's first on-site social worker. If you ask anybody about who Lenny was, especially in education, they'll say that he was just a really good man with a big heart, and his heart was always in the right place. Here are some of the things that I learned from Lenny also along over the years. He loved his family with every ounce of his being. I mean, he loved his family. During the times that we were out working on projects, he would often talk about how big Mia's heart was, his wife Mia, her heart was, and how that's something he always aspired to be like. He talked about how she exemplified the highest form of love and charity, basically unconditional love. And let's not forget about how he talked about her love for children and for education. He said he learned a lot about her since she's also a teacher. He learned a lot about how to work with students from the way she worked with her students. He would often talk about his love for his children, Kayla and Miles. He talked about the challenges and the joys of parenthood. And because I met him before having my first child, my wife, in many ways, I learned how to be a father from him. I learned about sacrificing for family, prioritizing family time, the power of keeping a calm and level head while being a father and a husband. Also, he taught me over the years. I just watched and learned how he showed how to be grateful for what you have and the importance of taking care of the things that God has blessed us with. I learned that over the years that he was a D1 football and college, a football and basketball player in college. I especially learned that the first time we played against each other at Berkmar, and we were on opposing teams. We were playing with the mentees, And man, he hit me with that crossover. He stepped back and busted a three-pointer right in my face. Oh my God. I learned that lesson the hard way, that he was truly an athlete. I also quickly learned that whenever we were on the same court, that I needed to be on his team, or I needed to pick him to be on my team. I learned it didn't matter how old you were. You could be middle schooler or a high schooler. He would drop a three-pointer on you. He would take you to the hoop. He might even throw a behind-the-back Magic Johnson pass on you, and you never saw it coming, and you never saw the goal get scored. He was just that good of an athlete. I mean, even in his mid-50s, he did this to middle schoolers. He did this to high schoolers. He did it to our principal, Durant Williams, and our buddy Durant Williams. Now, that was very interesting to see those two go at it. I mean, Durant Williams was a D1 basketball player, and on Fridays, we would meet after school with the mentees and play basketball. We would have three-point competitions, and to see those guys battle was just amazing. But one thing I always realized at the end of the day was that even though Durant played D1 basketball, Lenny would still shoot his lights out. Lenny was undoubtedly our three-point shooting champion of all time at our school at the Gibb Center. On another note, on those days that we were out working on projects in my business, I learned that he loved music. Man, he taught me about so many funk artists and groups and songs, because that's all he would play on the radio. He would put on music by groups such as the Ohio Players, Earth, Wind and Fire, Parliament Funkadelic, Rick James, Bootsy Collins, the Zap Band, the Commodores, Compunction. If you want to summon the spirit of Lenny through music, just look up some of the songs by some of these groups, and he's right there in that music. I mean, all day he was truly a lover of funk music. I mean, he loved funk music. So even though we weren't too many years apart in age, he was like a brother, but like I said, he was absolutely like a father. And some of the other things that we would discuss, some complex issues in education, such as choice theory. We would discuss some of society's major ills, such as systemic and institutional racism, post-traumatic slavery disorder, the miseducation of the Negro, and many other African-American pioneers like W.E.B. Du Bois, Carter G. Woodson, Frederick Douglass, Maya Angelou. I mean, just many, many levels of complexity I saw with Lenny that I don't know if he always shared publicly with everybody. But as I knew Lenny overall, I would say that I knew him as a very complex, caring, calm, cheerful, cordial, and compassionate man with a huge heart for family, friends, and students, and also for humanity. Lenny, you will forever, ever remain in our hearts. And to the Barber family, we love you. From the Williams family, the Protex family, the Gibb family, the Burkmar family, we love you.